3,000 years before chemical companies existed, indigenous farmers in the Amazon created soil so powerful it is still growing food today without a single drop of artificial fertilizer. But in 1947, a bomb factory in Alabama became a fertilizer plant, and everything your grandparents knew about building soil was intentionally buried under a massive marketing campaign. Here is what they did not want you to remember. In this video, we are not just going to expose the multi-billion-dollar pivot that changed our food supply forever. We are going to break down the exact forgotten methods of ancient agriculture, techniques that can produce 4 times more food per acre, so you can start doing this in your own backyard today. Let us take a step back to December 7th, 1941. Pearl Harbor burns. Within weeks, the United States government is building massive facilities across the interior. These plants were designed to produce one specific thing for the war effort: explosives. By the end of the war, 10 new plants are churning out 730,000 tons of this volatile chemical annually, with the capacity for over 1.6 million more. Then, in August 1945, the war ends. The bombs stop, but the factories do not. The Muscle Shoals munitions plant in Alabama faced a choice: to either shut down or pivot. They chose to pivot. In 1947, that facility switched from making explosives to making chemical fertilizer. It was the exact same chemical, just in a different package. Ammonium nitrate that would have leveled buildings was now being spread on cornfields. The government had a massive surplus. Farmers needed nitrogen, and the marriage seemed absolutely perfect. Except someone objected loudly. Sir Albert Howard, a brilliant British botanist who had been working in India since 1921, had spent decades perfecting something completely different. He called it the indoor method. The process was simple: layer organic materials, maintain moisture, and let nature do the chemistry. No factories required. Howard and his wife Gabrielle had transformed traditional Indian farming by incorporating composting protocols that built soil instead of depleting it. When Howard returned to Britain in the early 1930s, he began teaching a system of agriculture that required absolutely zero synthetic inputs. But the chemical industry had just converted a war machine into a profit engine. They were not about to let a botanist with a compost pile ruin it. Howard's methods worked, and that was exactly the problem. If farmers could build fertility from kitchen scraps and crop residue, they would never need to buy bags of ammonium nitrate. The explosives industry needed dependent customers, not independent competitors. So, traditional methods that had fed civilizations for millennia were rebranded as primitive, inefficient, and outdated. But here is what those chemical companies could not erase. The soil remembers. Deep in the Amazon basin, there are patches of earth called Terra Preta that still confound modern scientists. These areas, some over 2,500 years old, remain absurdly fertile today. That soil holds 3 to 5 times more organic carbon than the surrounding jungle. It regenerates itself. It has not seen fertilizer in 1,000 years, and yet it still outproduces modern industrial farms. Indigenous communities created this. They did not have chemistry labs or patents. They had charcoal, bones, broken pottery, compost, and an incredible understanding of soil biology that we are only just beginning to rediscover. Their technique was called slash and char, not slash and burn. They would create low-temperature charcoal, mix it with organic waste, and incorporate it into small plots. That charcoal, which we now call biochar, creates a permanent structure in the soil that microorganisms colonize. It binds nutrients. It retains water. It persists for centuries. Research comparing Terra Preta agriculture to modern methods reveals something extremely uncomfortable for the agricultural industry. Those ancient plots produced at least 4 times more food per acre than current industrial farming. 4 times the yield, without tractors, without synthetic fertilizer, and without the massive amounts of energy we now burn to produce a single calorie of food. What happened next was a tragedy. 1/3 of the excess carbon dioxide in our atmosphere today actually came from our soils. Modern agricultural techniques, specifically the heavy tilling and chemical applications that replaced traditional methods, caused most of the soil organic carbon in developed regions to decompose right into the air. We strip-mined the fertility our ancestors built, and then replaced it with products made in former bomb factories. Meanwhile, during World War II itself, something fascinating was happening in American backyards. 20 million families planted victory gardens. By 1943, these small plots produced 40% of all vegetables consumed in the United States. That is 9 to 10 million tons of food grown at home. The Department of Agriculture even taught composting and soil building to millions. Then the war ended. The gardens disappeared. The knowledge faded. And the fertilizer companies suddenly had a massive, captive market. But the biology did not change. The principles that made Terra Preta work for millennia, that powered victory gardens through wartime, that Sir Albert Howard documented in India, those principles are still true. Soil wants to be alive. It wants organic matter breaking down. It wants fungi, bacteria, and earthworms doing chemistry that absolutely no factory can replicate. Chemical fertilizer delivers nutrients directly to plants, and it completely bypasses the entire soil ecosystem. It is fast, and it works in the short term, but it is also the exact reason why agricultural soils worldwide are dying today. The microorganisms starve. The fungal networks completely collapse. The soil structure degrades. And you become permanently dependent on inputs you have to purchase every single season. Compost does the exact opposite. It feeds the organisms that feed the plants. So here's what you can do about it right now, in your own backyard. Start small. Pick one bed in your garden and make biochar. You do not need any special equipment. Simply burn wood in a low oxygen environment until it stops smoking and turns to charcoal. Quench it with water. Crush it into small pieces and mix it with compost, kitchen scraps, or manure. Work it into your soil. That charcoal will not decompose for centuries. It creates microscopic pores where bacteria and fungi establish colonies to process nutrients and make them available to your plant's roots. Next, utilize the actual composting method Howard developed, the indoor method. Layer green material like grass clippings and kitchen scraps, then brown material like leaves, straw, and cardboard. Keep it moist. The organisms will handle the complex chemistry, and within months, you have finished compost that feeds soil biology in ways synthetic fertilizer cannot even touch. Finally, use cover cropping. After harvest, do not leave your beds bare. Plant clover, vetch, or winter rye. Legumes like clover have bacteria in their root nodules that literally pull nitrogen from the air and convert it into plant-available forms. When you cut those plants down in spring and work them into the soil, you are adding nitrogen you did not have to buy. Farmers who used cover crops during the massive 2012 drought saw yields 10 to 11% higher than neighbors who did not. You can combine all of this today: biochar and compost plus cover crops. No part of this system requires products from companies that profit when you fail. The backyards that fed America during World War II were not using secret techniques. They were using principles older than agriculture itself. The fertilizer industry needed you dependent, but Terra Preta needed nothing for 1,000 years. Victory gardens fed a nation, and Sir Albert Howard documented it all before the bomb factories ever pivoted. The evidence never disappeared. It just stopped being profitable to discuss. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe if you want to keep learning the truth about our food and history. But remember, building perfect soil will not help if you are planting at the wrong time of year. Click the video on the screen right now to learn the exact planting schedule you need for a massive harvest this season.